So we are back with some Championship score predictions. Coming up this weekend in the Championship, we've got some really interesting games, which I'm very excited to see what you guys are saying for this weekend's fixtures. As always, all the games going on this weekend will be listed in the description down below, so you guys can easily go ahead and make your score predictions. Then, if you do successfully manage to get any of your predictions correct, then your comment will be included into the next video. Also, if you do go on to enjoy the video, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. Also, make sure you subscribe for some regular Championship content. And we're getting into a really interesting part of the season now, into November, soon to be Christmas. This is where teams can either fall away or really start to gain some momentum. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and hop into my score predictions. And so starting out with the game going on tonight at Villa Park between Aston Villa and Bolton Wanderers. Currently, Bolton only found themselves 2 points behind Aston Villa, so if they are to get all 3 points in this one, they could leapfrog them in the Championship. Talking about Bolton, first of all, though, they are on a really torrid run of form in the Championship. In the whole month of October, they only scored 1 goal and picked up 1 point. They've been tumbling down the Championship recently, and their performances as a whole have been very stale recently. In their last game against Hull City, we saw Phil Parkinson make a lot of changes to the starting 11 in an attempt to be more attacking. That didn't pay off for them in the end. They did create quite a few chances in that game, but they did lose 1-0 at home to Hull City. So I'm interested to see what lineup he actually goes with for this game. I thought that Oztumer was looking decent, but apart from that, Bolton have been really bland lately. Talking about Aston Villa, of course, since Dean Smith has come in, it's been a bit of a mixed reaction so far, winning 1 and losing 2. However, the signs are there that this Aston Villa squad is building in the right direction. They've been playing out from the back. There is still a long way to go for this Villa squad, and really they just need to be a little bit more clinical. We saw that in their last game against QPR. They should have got something from that, but in the end they walked away with nothing as they were beaten 1-0 by QPR at Loftus Road. But for this game, I do have the impression that Aston Villa will have a lot of the ball for this one, and eventually that Bolton backline is probably going to crack. They've not been brilliant lately, and so I'm going to back Villa for a 2-0 home victory, and FIFA is going to agree with me. Then moving on into the Saturday games, we see Blackburn Rovers going up against Queen's Park Rangers, with the away side currently being one of the most informed sides in the Championship. They've been playing some brilliant football lately, and defensively they have been really tough to break down, only conceding 1 goal in the whole month of October. Defensively, they have been a really tough nut to crack. Going up against this Blackburn side, they definitely have some players who could hurt this QPR squad. When Bradley Dack likes to find that space in behind, that's going to be a really interesting battle between Bradley Dack and Jeff Cameron, who I'm assuming is going to be man marking him. As a system, QPR work very hard off the ball, and so Blackburn are going to find it tough to find some space in behind this QPR squad, but both sides have players going forward who have been playing with a bit of confidence recently. Of course, a big miss for Blackburn for this game will be their goalkeeper David Raya, who picked up an injury last weekend against West Brom and has been ruled out for this game. I think he's been superb whenever I've seen him play so far this season, so that's going to be a big miss for them. But honestly, I don't see all too much being in this game. I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 draw. Blackburn's home record so far this season has been very good. I'll say 1-1. FIFA's going to say 2-1 QPR. And then next up we see Brentford going up against Millwall. A really interesting game, this one. If Millwall pick up all 3 points, they'll go above Brentford in the league. Brentford on one of the worst runs in the Championship currently, this winless run that they're going on. They just need to find a bit of confidence from somewhere, really. It's going to be an interesting game, though. Millwall have won 3 of their last 4 games in the Championship, and going up against a side like Brentford, who are seriously lacking confidence at the moment, I'm hoping that Millwall will go to Griffin Park and just take the game to Brentford. I feel like this could be quite an open, expansive game. Both sides are capable of scoring goals. I think that Brentford's defence lately has been the worry for them most of all, and with Millwall lacking to put a lot of balls into the box, with Brentford struggling with aerial battles so far this season, that's where Millwall could get quite a bit of joy for this one. But I just feel as if Brentford's form is going to have to turn around sooner rather than later. In some of their recent performances, I do feel like they've got quite unlucky. They were unlucky not to score a goal against Norwich in their last game when they walked away with nothing after they lost that game 1-0. For this game, I do have a feeling that the form may be flipped for this one. I've got a gut feeling that Brentford will bounce back, and so I will back them for a 2-1 home victory, although I'm not too confident with that. Millwall got some good players lately. Gregory's been in some good form for them, and their midfield's been operating well, but I will say 2-1 Brentford. FIFA's going to say 2-0 Brentford. And then to a really interesting one this weekend, we got Derby County going up against Birmingham. This has the potential to be the game of the weekend. With Birmingham currently unbeaten in their last 11 games in the league, they've won their last 4, and with Derby currently sat in the playoffs playing some fantastic attacking football, this game really does have the potential to be a real cracker this weekend. I feel like it's going to be a really open, expansive game. Obviously, we did see Derby playing in midweek. They just lost against Chelsea in the Cup 3-2 in the end, but it was a very spirited performance from Derby in that game, and they can take quite a bit of positives from that. Perhaps though a bit of fatigue may play into their game for this one. Birmingham will have had a week off. That's not the luxury that Derby can have going into this game. I feel like there will be goals scored for this one, even with how good Birmingham have been defensively this season and putting structure into their play. Derby just have some fantastic attacking outlets. Tom Lawrence has been looking on fire lately. Harry Wilson's been brilliant. Mason Mount as well. Wycombe's been in the goals, and Jack Marriott as well has been absolutely superb. So for a prediction for this one, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I don't think there's going to be all too much in between these two sides. Whereas FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then next up we see Hull City going up against West Brom. West Brom currently really not in a good run of form in the Championship. We've seen them drop dropped some silly points recently, and defensively, they have been looking a bit all over the place. Going up against this Hull squad, who, it's an interesting time at Hull at the moment. They are currently in the relegation zone. Some of their performances as of late haven't been brilliant, but they did pick up a massive 3 points in their last game away at Bolton Wanderers, winning that game 1-0 in the end. Going up against West Brom is going to be a different sort of test. West Brom and Bolton playing different styles of football, of course. I think in terms of West Brom so far this season, their attack has been their best form of defence, really. So if their attackers can come into form in this one, I think Hull will find it quite hard in this one, really. It's another one of those games where I don't really see all too much being in it between these two sides, but I can see quite a few goals being scored. Hull so far this season have been creating a lot of chances in each game I've seen them play. They've just been quite wasteful in some of them. I feel like that will start to gradually change for Hull though, and I'm just going to back West Brom for a 3-2 away victory. I feel like there could be quite a few goals in that one. Both defences so far this season haven't really convinced me, but going forward they can both score goals. I'll say 3-2 West Brom. Thief is going to say 1-0 Hull. Coming up next, we then got Ipswich Town going up against Preston North End. This really could be a season-defining game for both sides in this one. Both sides are really desperately in need of all 3 points in this one. Preston coming into this one on a decent run of form. We're now unbeaten in our last 5 games in the Championship. Going up against Ipswich, who are, of course, still sat bottom of the Championship. This will, however, be Paul Lambert's first game in charge of Ipswich, so I'm very intrigued to see what lineup he goes with, what system he looks to play with, and how Ipswich in general react to Lambert coming into the job. I'm a little bit annoyed as a Preston fan coming into this game that it will be Lambert's first game, because, you know, generally when a new manager does come into a job, you seem to get that bit more bounce with all the players. Everyone's going to be looking to impress, and I feel like Ipswich will make themselves hard to break down on this one. Going forward from open play, we've not really seen much quality from them so far this season. However, when our defence has been as poor as it has, I'm still quite nervous going up against Ipswich. I think if Ipswich are looking to get balls into the box and score from set pieces, our backline may struggle for this one. Offensively, Preston have a lot to offer for this one, of course, there's no doubt about that. Callum Robinson's been playing fantastically lately. Tom Barkhuizen's been having some good games within the goals lately, and from midfield we got a lot of goals in there as well. I just feel as if it'll be quite a similar game to Preston's last game against Rotherham United. Preston probably will have quite a bit of the ball, but we will find ourselves frustrated for large parts of the game, and I'm actually going to say that this one will finish as a 1-1 draw, with FIFA also agreeing with me for this one. Then next up we see Nottingham Forest going up against Sheffield United. Sheffield United currently sat top of the Championship. Nottingham Forest themselves have been on a good run of form recently. They were involved in quite a controversial game last time against Leeds United, with Kamaru equalising late on, scoring with his hand. But even so, Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United will be a really interesting game this weekend. Both sides have been playing some good football so far this season, and both of them arguably have two of the most informed strikers in the Championship currently. Lewis Grabban's been fantastic lately for Nottingham Forest, and Billy Sharp has been absolutely outstanding for Sheffield United. Goals haven't been the problem for either side lately, and the battle of midfield will be a really interesting watch for this one. Sheffield United are top of the Championship for a reason at the moment. Their performances have been absolutely fantastic, and what I like about Sheffield United is they are able to mix up the way they play. They can play well in possession. Off the ball, they're also excellent. They can catch teams out on the break, and defensively themselves, they are very solid. So any Championship side going up against a Sheffield United team does tend to find it quite hard, but Nottingham Forest have a formula in there under Ita Kranke, which I think they could cause the United side some problems. I've got the feeling that it's going to be 2-1 to either side. It's just this game really is on a knife edge. I'm just going to back Sheffield United for a 2-1 away victory, but I wouldn't put it past Forest picking up all 3 points in this one. That's going to be a really interesting watch. I'll say 2-1 United. FIFA's going to say it'll be a 1-1 draw. And then next up we see Reading going up against Bristol City. Reading currently sat in the bottom 3 of the Championship. A lot of pressure being put on their manager Paul Clement at this point in time. The performances haven't been good from them, and defensively especially has really been their downfall so far. Already conceding 25 goals so far this season in the Championship. That's a weakness that Bristol City are going to have to exploit for this game. Of late, Bristol City haven't been scoring too many goals. They've got quite a lot of attacking options in there. They've been creating quite a lot of chances per game recently. They've just been not been that clinical with them. But going up against this Reading defence, I think that most sides have got quite a lot of joy out of it so far this season. There have been some odd occasions where Reading have really turned up for a home game, where we've seen their attacking lineup really take the game to the away side, but I'm not sure we're going to get that in this game. Off the ball, Bristol City make themselves a really hard side to break down. It is quite hard to keep the ball away from this Bristol City side. Off the ball, they are very high tempo, and then when they do win it back, they look for some quick transitioning play through midfield to get it into their forward two. So for this game, I do get the feeling there could be a few goals scored for this one, really. But for this one, I'm going to back Bristol City for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying it'll be 2-0 Bristol City. Next up, we then see Rotherham United going up against Swansea City. Rotherham have been drawing a lot of games in the Championship recently. 4 of their last 5 games have all ended as a draw, and we spoke about it quite a lot so far this season, but they have made themselves a tough side to break down at home this season. Going up against the Swansea side, who are just currently on the brink of the playoffs, a win in this game could see them go into the top 6 this weekend. And Swansea are a side who I've really enjoyed watching so far this season. Their build-up play has been very good. Their tempo on the ball is good to watch as well. And it's the sort of game where you feel like Rotherham will be quite defensive for this one. They'll be cautious of the players who Swansea have got going forward. But Swansea are quite comfortable in possession, really, and they do like to take their time with their build-up play. And eventually, someone does pick that killer pass for them, and they are able to break teams down. We have seen a couple of instances where they have been quite wasteful with some of their chances so far this season. If that's going to be the case, then I could see this one finishing as a 1-1 draw, something like that. But with how Swansea have been playing lately, I think going forward they've been looking good. Ollie McBurney's been in the goals recently. Selena, who we spoke about in the last video, I've been very impressed by lately. And so for this game, I will just back Swansea for a 2-1 away victory. I don't think there'll be all too much in that game. I think Swansea will have a lot of the ball, but they will just eventually manage to break down Rotherham. So I'll say 2-1 Swansea. FIFA's going to say a 1-1 draw. And then next up, we got Sheff Wednesday going up against Norwich City. Sheff Wednesday losing their last 3 games in the Championship, going up against Norwich, who have won their last 3. If anything was to happen in this game, it's probably going to be that Sheff Wednesday will walk away with all 3 points, just because that is the nature of unpredictability in the Championship. But even so, looking at this game, Sheff Wednesday haven't been great lately. Over 90 minutes, they're just not able to put in a complete performance. We saw in their last game against Birmingham, the first sort of 40 minutes for that game, they were actually looking alright. They were creating some chances for this one, but as soon as Birmingham put the pressure on that back line, they just crumbled. And if Norwich do that for this one, we could see the same thing happen. Going forward so far this season, Norwich have been looking very good. In possession so far this season, Norwich have been a really good side to watch, and Sheff Wednesday, I think, do seem to struggle with that. I think their concentration levels just seem to dip down when we get into the second half, and so if that is to happen for this one, I can only see one thing happening, really. And so I am going to back Norwich for a 2-1 away victory, with FIFA saying this one will be a 1-1 draw. As the evening kick-off on Saturday, we then got Stoke City going up against Middlesbrough. An interesting game, this one. Stoke is still quite an inconsistent side, but they're slowly getting there in the Championship. I feel like they are building in the right direction. They are only 5 points off the playoffs, so anything is still possible for Stoke come the end of the season. And one thing that I will say about Stoke is defensively they have improved since the start of the season. I think their concentration has been a lot better lately, and they have made themselves a lot tougher to break down, with Ryan Woods and Joe Allen playing in front of that back four. Jack Bolton's been in some good form lately as well. He's been playing well. I don't think Middlesbrough are going to have it all their own way in this one. Stoke going forward definitely have options to hurt Middlesbrough in this game. Obviously, Middlesbrough still having the best defensive record in the Championship. I don't feel like all too many goals are going to be scored in this one, really. If we look at Middlesbrough from open play so far this season, they've not been brilliant. Their strikers haven't really been on sparkling form. Sonbalonga's had a few chances this season. Braithwaite probably the best option going forward, but even he hasn't been scoring prolifically so far this season. In Middlesbrough's last game in the Championship, we actually saw them finish it against Derby without a shot on target. I do hope that that's not the case in this one. I would like to see them being a little bit more offensive, but whenever Tony Pulis is in town, there doesn't tend to be too many goals. So for this game, I'm going to back it to finish as a 1-1 draw. I don't think there'll be too much in it between the two sides. FIFA's going to say it'll be 2-0 Middlesbrough. Then, as our last game to predict in today's video, we see Wigan Athletic going up against Leeds United in the Sunday kickoff. A really interesting game, this one, with Wigan currently having the best home record in the Championship. They are yet to lose a game at the DW so far this season, but that could be put into test against this Leeds squad, who have obviously been very good so far this season. Leeds very controversially picked up a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest last time out in the Championship, with Kamar Roof scoring with his hand. But even so, in that game, we saw Leeds have 71% possession and create 18 goal scoring opportunities. I don't feel as if Leeds are going to have it all their own way for this one, though. Going forward at home so far this season, Wigan have been an excellent side to watch, with Powell and Windass starting to find a little bit of chemistry between themselves. We saw Joey Garner bag his first goal for Wigan last weekend as well. Wigan have got players going forward who could hurt this Leeds squad, and I feel like it's going to be a really open, engaging game of football. Defensively, at times so far this season, we have seen Wigan be quite passive, really. You know, they conceded 4 goals against Sheffield United, they conceded 4 goals not too long ago against my team Preston as well, and with the attacking quality of Leeds United, Wigan's back line could struggle for this one if their midfield isn't giving them sufficient protection for it. They can't let Leeds have it all their own way for this one. But for a score prediction, I'm actually going to back it to finish as a 2-2 draw. I don't feel like there'll be all too much in it, and like I say, Wigan have been very good at home so far, so I'll say 2-2. FIFA's going to say it will be 2-0 to Wigan Athletic. But guys, there you have it. There are my Championship Week 12 score predictions. So do you guys agree with my predictions? Let me know in the comments down below. Apart from that, guys, that will now wrap it up for this video. So if you did go in to enjoy, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, make sure you do subscribe for some regular Championship content. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.